Pastor Josh here. We are reading Exodus chapter 26, verses 15 through 37. And I'm sure you're in this section. This is one of those sections of the scripture when you get to, you just think, why on earth is this here? Why on earth do we have to read all of these details about how this temple was built? And that's a normal experience. And you read it and your eyes gloss over. You say, I'm going to go to sleep. This is a lot. And also, if you don't know this, all of this material is going to be repeated again toward the end of the book of Exodus. So a major chunk of the book of Exodus is telling you how God builds the temple. And so here Moses is receiving the instructions on how to build the temple. And then at the end of Exodus, God tells you how they built the tabernacle. And all of this we need to understand is that God is particular about his instructions, very particular. He is using a lot of space in his most precious word to tell you about these things because God is serious about his instructions. Now, we're not commanded to build that tabernacle anymore. In fact, we are told in the New Testament that we as Christians make up the temple. We are built together to make up a spiritual house in which sacrifices and spiritual worship is made. And so this tabernacle is no longer in existence. It is one of those laws that was abolished with the new covenant, with the coming of Jesus Christ. But what we can see here is that God is very particular about his instructions. Today we are going to read about more about the curtains, the drywall, if you will, the tent itself and the fabric that makes that up. And again, so hang in there with me. I'll bring you another picture, and I will make a few comments as we read. But again, this is very technical details, and the reason it's technical is because God is very particular and serious about his instructions. He goes on to say, "You shall make upright frames for the tabernacle of acacia wood. 10 cubits shall be the length of a frame, and a cubit and a half the breadth of each frame. There shall be 2 tenons in each frame for fitting together. So shall you do for all the frames of the tabernacle. You shall make the frames of the tabernacle 20 frames from the south side. 40 bases of silver you shall make under the 20 frames. 2 bases under one frame for its 2 tenons, and 2 bases under the next frame for its 2 tenons." So really, if you went through this, you could begin to draw the tabernacle. And so I'm going to shortcut you here, give you a picture in just a moment. And for the second side of the tabernacle, on the north side, 20 frames. And there are 40 bases of silver, 2 bases under one frame, and 2 bases under the next frame. And for the rear of the tabernacle westward, you shall make 6 frames. And you shall make 2 frames for the corners of the tabernacle in the rear. They shall be separate beneath, but joined at the top at the first string. Thus it shall be with both of them. They shall be from the 2 corners, and there shall be 8 frames with their bases of silver, 16 bases, 2 bases under one frame, and 2 bases under another frame. So you see the bases here. Here's the image for you. The bases, the frames on which, so here's your sticks, or I'm calling them sticks, frames, I guess, as you builder people know better what I'm talking about. If we counted, we could count 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 6 in the middle, and then it said that 2 are in the corner there. So very extreme detail telling us about how this tabernacle is going to be put together. Continuing onward, you shall make bars of acacia wood, 5 for the frames of the one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the frames of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the frames of the side of the tabernacle at the rear westward. The middle bar, halfway up the frame, shall run from end to end. You shall overlay the frames with gold. It's supposed to be a pretty house. Remember, this is an example. This is a picture of heaven. God's heavenly abode, his dwelling place, and shall make their rings of gold for holders for the bars. And you shall overlay the bars with gold. Then you shall erect the tabernacle according to the plan for it that you are shown on the mountain. Again, God's saying you better follow the instructions. Why? Because this is a picture of God's throne room. And you shall make a veil of blue and purple and scarlet yarns and fine twined linen. It shall be made with cherubim skillfully worked into it. Again, you see the cherubim worked into it, and you see the pretty fabric that it's making up. Verse 33, and you shall hang the veil from the claps, and shall bring the ark of the testimony in there within the veil. And the veil shall separate for you the holy place from the most holy place. Remember, two places within the tabernacle. You shall put the mercy seat on the ark for the testimony in the most holy place. You shall set the table outside the veil and the lampstand on the south side of the tabernacle opposite the table, and you shall put the table on the north side. I'll go up there to the picture in just a moment. You shall make a screen for the entrance of the tent of blue and purple and scarlet yarns and fine twined linen. Very nice. Twined linen, embroidered with what needlework? It's supposed to be beautiful. This is supposed to be wonderful looking to the priests that work inside. And you shall make for the screen 5 pillars of acacia and overlay them with gold. Their hooks shall be of gold, and you shall cast 5 bases of bronze for them. So going back up here, talking about the bases, there's the examples of the bases that they have designed for you. There is the beautiful curtains, and here is the division, remember, between the most holy place, or the holy of holies, where God, the picture of God's throne, is right here, and overlaid over top of it with 2 cherubim. And over here, the text was talking about the place for the table of showbread, or the bread of presence, 2 stacks of 6 loaves, making 12 total. And then the menorah here. We'll talk about the incense altar in here just a moment, or in a few more readings, and then we'll go outside the tabernacle and begin to talk about that. Remember, this is a picture of heaven, and God is very particular about his instructions. I pray that has been a blessing to you. May God richly bless you for taking some time to meditate on these precious words that he has given us. I'll see you all in the next video.